Thank
John,
you.
you're a candidate for Senate District 48, which covers Muscatine plus three other counties in that area of southeast Iowa. You're also a professor at Muscatine Community College. You're also on the school board in Muscatine, and you serve as the president of Muscatine. You were recently reelected to school board last fall, correct?
Yes. Mhm.
And so, John, and I believe you also ran for Iowa House previously in the past.
Yes, 12 years ago.
12 years ago.
Mhm.
Okay, great. So, you have a lot of experience, and you're a very well-educated young man. And I only say that because I think you're a couple years younger than me. So you're still young.
Thank
I'm
you. Thank you.
66, be 67 here about another 2 months. Okay, well, John, without further ado, I'm going to give the floor to you. Again, you'll have 6 minutes. I'll cue you at about a minute prior to the 6 minutes.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Mitch. Thank you all. First of all, for the opportunity to sit and talk with you and introduce myself and our campaign. Again, as Mitch, you mentioned, I have been in the state of Iowa for 29 years since I moved to Iowa from the East Coast, where I resided first in Pennsylvania, where I finished all my higher education and also taught at a college for 5 years there before I accepted the job with Eastern Iowa Community Colleges in 1995. Basically, some might say, well, why I'm running, especially when I'm an elected official. I serve as the president of Muscatine School Board. Education is extremely important issue to me, and I have been in education all my life, between being student and also for the past 35 years teaching at post-secondary level. Um, as a school board president, I get to see a lot of things that most probably not everyday individuals will see, dealing with issues, attacks on our, public education, public schooling, and so on. In particular, at the past 2 years, starting with the voucher, to the banning books, to the breaking of the AEA, to the last thing, which is 2 weeks before the end of the session, when they approve the teachers and staff to carry guns and weapons in school, assuming the school board will approve it. So we took it as an attack. When you take the tax dollars from public education and public schools and give that to parochial and private schools, that's a problem. That is definitely a problem because you are taking well-needed resources from those students who goes to public schools and giving those resources to what I call it the choice, or parents who choose to send their kids to private schools. We don't have a problem with private schools. We see it as a choice, but since the private schools don't go with the same rules, the same regulations, they don't have a public, an elected board that will decide, and they still can accept or reject students. We see that giving them that tax dollars is totally a big mistake, a big problem for public education. So basically, we decided to run. I was asked by the Senate Democrats leadership to consider running for the Iowa District or Senate District 48, which is Muscatine, Louisa County, part of Des Moines County, and part of Henry County. And we accepted the challenge, and we started to build the campaign. We have a very strong team. We have a very strong messaging. Today, for example, we send over 15,000 text messaging to almost 8,000 independents and 7,000 plus Democrats. So we are sending text messaging around that number almost weekly now. So we are trying to reach out to every candidate. I'm sorry, every citizen of District 48. So our campaign, I can summarize it, has three pillars. One is what we call opportunities for all, and that part of it is education, part of it, anybody that is in Iowa, we need them to reach, to receive the resources and so on. Like, so everybody has to be treated equally, and then
John, you have
freedom.
one more minute.
Okay, thank you. Freedom, the freedom for women, for example, to choose what she wants to do between her and her doctor, and not a politician in Des Moines telling her what to do or not to do. And the last pillar is what we call accountability. We want to hold our politicians accountable for every decisions they make. And I would say at least the past 2 years, they are not. They are not accountable. They are breaking their own rules. So this is, in a nutshell, those are the pillars of our campaign. And with that, I'm ready to answer any question that you might have.
Well, thank you very much, John. I'm going to give it over to Patrick. Patrick is the chair of our election endorsement committee. And the committee reviewed your candidate questionnaire and others we are considering for endorsement next week. So Patrick, the floor is yours for the next 6 minutes.
Thank you, Mitch. And thank you, John, for joining us today. As Mitch said, we received your questionnaires, we reviewed them, and we had a couple follow-up questions for you. So the first question was question 1 of the workers' rights section. It asked if you support enacting a state minimum wage of $20 an hour or higher, indexed annually to inflation. You said that yes, the purchasing power of our money is decreasing every year due to inflation and wages, and that salaries are not keeping up with inflation. You stated that Iowans deserve a better standard of living and that you will be a strong supporter of increasing the minimum wage in Iowa to at least $15 an hour. Okay. Our question was about increasing it to $20 an hour or more. So now please tell us why $15 an hour is your goal and why we shouldn't pursue the goal of at least $20 an hour.
First of all, Patrick, thank you for the question and thank you for the introduction. Well, you see, as an economist, I answered this question because that's basically my major, economics. The goal of $20 or more will be still my goal, but right now, as you know, the minimum wage is $7.25. I suggested to go more on, maybe in my answer I should explain that more. To do that gradually on maybe like couple steps where you jump from 7.25 to 15, and then from 15 to 20 or more. We know and we understand that as the minimum wage start rising, that's still also, which is well needed. I will fight for it when I'm in Des Moines, because I believe that 7.25 or $8 or even $10 will not be enough for someone to live on. But what I'm thinking is we want to do it gradually rather than jumping from 7.25 right away to 20 or more than 20. My goal definitely will be over 20 because, as we know that how much money, not money, I'm sorry, how much of the value of our money that we are losing every year, especially with the high inflation rate in the past couple of years. Yes, I think you are totally right that 20 or more should be our goal, but I am looking at it from an economic point of view where we can do it maybe on two steps rather than one step. One is to help you and me and everybody, the citizens of Iowa, and two, also keeping the small businesses intact and also supporting those salaries as they are hiring and expanding more and more. That's the reason, but I will be in total support of, as an end result, 20 or more.
Okay,
Yeah.
so can I ask you real quick what your timeline would be for $20 or more?
I would say within if we move to 15, within 1 to 2 years, moving 15 to a 20 or more. So it's short period of time, but it's just like it will give the small business. I'm not worried about big businesses. I think big businesses should pay way more fair share, but I'm worried about the one individual small business. So I would say 1 to 2 years will give them time to adjust and then
Okay.
move again to 20 or more.
Okay, thank you.
Patrick, we have only 2 minutes on this last question.
2 minutes, okay. Question 2 of the education section of the questionnaire asks if public post-secondary education, including trade schools, should be free to students, and what limitations, if any, you would apply. You answered that yes, you support free education from pre-K to 14, which means community colleges and trade schools. So please now tell us why you don't support free education up to a bachelor's degree at Iowa public colleges.
Thank you. We always, based on my experience with education for all these years, we always say, it's important to establish a system where you include as a first step K through 14, including, as you said, trade and community colleges, then universities. I do support, free education for any individual who wants to earn a degree. I know that there are certain federal systems like FAFSA and so on that will subsidize the education at university levels. For example, if someone decided to go and continue their education and earn the bachelor degree, I am all for education, supporting education, because as I said again, I live and breathe education every day. So I believe that the state of Iowa should have some sort of a vision where anyone who wants to continue their education, they have to have a way to continue their education. But the first step is I will definitely support 100% free education from K through 14, and then obviously supporting any student that wants to basically invest in themselves, and improve themselves and finish higher education degrees. So they should be supportive too.
Okay, Patrick, we're done. Time's up with the Q&A.
All right, thank you, Mitch.
So we'll ask for a conclusion. We got a minute and a half left.
Okay, the conclusion, I assume me.
Yes.
Talking. Yes. Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank you and thank you for the opportunity. It is important, even though I will be representing District 48. But when you are in the Iowa Senate, every decisions you make and every vote you make affects the whole state of Iowa. The citizens of Iowa will be affected. I can assure you that I will be extremely supportive of education, extremely supportive of women's rights and reproductive rights, extremely supportive of, raising the minimum wage, as I said, on two stages, one first to 15, and then within 1 to 2 years to 20 or more, extremely supportive of giving the opportunity. I remember when I moved to Iowa, we used to call Iowa, or the mantra for Iowa, the land of opportunities or something like that. We want Iowa to be really a land of opportunity for all. We want to attract people from other states and also other countries to come here and have the same opportunity that we all got and become very successful. So I will guarantee you that's what I will stand for when I'm in the Iowa Senate.